right?
And I have a specific example of someone that worked here that has said something very similar to her.
Oh, interesting. Okay, It can't be your nephew because he has no self-awareness.
Casparian in the last year or so has really started to come around. I'm not saying that she's completely left the woke cult or anything like that, but she's definitely started to come around. It's very obvious for people who are on the left to have some sort of common sense that they do start to come around and call certain people out, such as Hasan Piker or Hasan, who is a Twitch streamer, who's a multi-millionaire who gets a lot of viewership on Twitch. And Casparian, who obviously was put on by the Young Turks and put on by his uncle, Cenk Uygur, who was on every single episode of the Young Turks with Casparian sitting right next to him as she's calling him out in this particular video, and as Casparian has called out Hasan quite a bit in the past. But Casparian is someone who has been waking up to all this nonsense recently, and everybody on the left who started off on the left and just had some common sense in their brain ended up somewhat leaving, or at least calling these same things out that Casparian is calling out. So people like Russell Brand and Joe Rogan, and even Bill Maher is calling some stuff out. But Casparian has taken it to another level, and I just can't believe Cenk Uygur's reaction to Casparian calling out his nephew on this live episode. They kind of get into nepotism and certain people who are beneficiaries of nepotism, and Hasan Piker comes up because he's obviously a beneficiary of nepotism. And Casparian just absolutely trashes him, absolutely demolishes him right in front of Cenk's face. Let's check this out.
Well, most Nepo babies like to deny that they've been given incredible opportunities in life without necessarily earning it because of nepotism. One actress named Hawke just gave all those other stars a masterclass in.
And I know that this might seem like it's kind of irrelevant to Casparian versus Hasan. It's not. Trust me. She's going to get into it here in just 1 second. This is all important context to the situation.
How to respond to the Nepo baby allegations. Now, if you've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, seasons 3 and 4 of Stranger Things, or Do Revenge, you're familiar with Hawke. And she says, yeah, I'm a Nepo baby and I accept it. So she was recently asked in an interview whether or not she thinks she deserves the success that she has attained as an actress. And by the way, her parents are Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman, obviously celebrities. Okay, so that's where the nepotism comes in. But here's what Hawke had to say about nepotism giving her an upper hand in her acting career. There are so many people who deserve to have this kind of life who don't. But I think I'm comfortable with not deserving it and doing it anyway. And I know that my not doing it wouldn't help anyone.
I totally agree. Not just with the first half, which is the main reason we're doing the story, but with the last sentence too. Like, okay, if I just didn't become an actress, how does that help anyone? Yeah, does she have to do basket weaving? No, you could be an actress.
And now we're getting to the moment where the Hasan call out is about to happen right here, as Casparian is talking about nepotism and things like that. Obviously, the elephant in the whole room right here that Cenk Uygur actually brings up first is Hasan, because Hasan is 100% a beneficiary of nepotism. Like I said earlier, the only reason why he has a career is because of nepotism, because people have put in the groundwork to build up the Young Turks. He got platformed by the Young Turks, and somehow he blew up on Twitch. I don't know how anybody can sit there and watch the guy. From my point of view, every single time I see clips of him, it's just him reading his chat and then saying, yeah, like just agreeing with everything that his chat says. That's it. That's all that happens on his stream. There's no hard stances. There's no logic or I mean, there's hard stances, but they're always ridiculous, and they're never backed up by logic or facts or anything like that. He always just has his stance. If anyone tries to challenge him, he'll always just say something like, oh, it's not worth to argue with these kinds of people. That's it. Like, he'll never actually argue. He'll never actually debate and defend his points. Anyway, let's get into the Casparian call out and just torching of Hasan here.
So I totally agree.
Yeah, I do have a specific example that kind of counters what she said there, even though I agree with what she's saying, right?
And I have a specific example of someone that worked here that has said something very similar to her.
Oh, interesting. Okay, It can't be.
And by the way, I'm going to rewind it real quick, because Cenk says, and by the way, I have a specific example of someone who used to work here, talking about the Young Turks, working, where Casparian and Cenk Uygur work, and he's saying, who said something very similar to Hawke, who Casparian was praising for saying, yeah, I am a Nepo baby and I don't really care. A lot of people would, rather be in my position than theirs. And that's okay. They're just jealous. It is what it is. I'm proud to be a Nepo baby. Cenk Uygur is saying that Hasan Piker said something similar whenever he was confronted about being a Nepo baby, because the Young Turks put him on and Cenk Uygur put him on. You know, and here's what Anna Casparian had to say to that.
Someone that worked here that has said something very similar to her.
Oh, interesting. Okay, it can't be your nephew because he has no self-awareness. But anyway, let me continue with the rest of her statement.
Dude, that is just, that's cold, man. Anna Casparian is just, she's done with these wokies. And I want you to, instead of paying attention to Anna Casparian here, pay attention to Cenk Uygur's reaction to this statement by Anna Casparian, which obviously I 100% agree with. Everybody out there with any sort of common sense 100% agrees with what Anna Casparian thinks of Hasan, because he does have zero self-awareness, and that's probably the least of his troubles that he has.
Someone that worked here that has said something very
watch Cenk here whenever she says that.
Similar to her.
Oh, interesting. Okay, it can't be your nephew because he has no self-awareness. But anyway, let me continue with the rest of her statement.
His face is just like, I don't know what to say to that. And there's not much you can say to that. It's very obvious to me, and let me know in the comments if you guys think I'm wrong. I don't watch the Young Turks on a daily basis, but every single time I see a clip, it just seems like Anna cares less and less about what Cenk and the rest of the Young Turks think of her. She had that whole spat wherever she said, I think it was whenever she was going after people for calling her a birthing person, or saying that she should refer to women as birthing people or something. And there was a lot of people within the Young Turks that like resigned from their positions, made YouTube videos, clout chasing, trying to say that they should fire Anna Casparian. They quit their jobs at the Young Turks because they said Anna Casparian wasn't inclusive enough and all this stuff. She was having all these right-wing positions. And ever since that time period where, you know, Cenk kind of took a back seat on the show because Anna was kind of the star. She was kind of like the center of attention at that time. She was kind of just saying, I don't care. You could all resign. I don't really care. I have my opinions, and you know, that it is what it is. If you can prove me wrong, that's one thing. But getting all emotional and quitting your job because you can't stand something that I said, I mean, that's just weak, you know? And ever since that time period, that was about a year ago. And ever since that time, it just seems like Cenk doesn't really challenge Anna on very much. You know, it's always like when you say something like that about someone's nephew who's sitting next to you, you would think he would try to defend him a little bit. But because Anna Casparian is in a point now where she doesn't really care at all, even though Cenk is technically Anna's boss, I don't think she cares at all about what Cenk thinks of her. And I think that if Cenk were to fire Anna Casparian tomorrow, I don't think she would care much, you know? I think she would be fine. I think it's kind of a Candace Owens situation where Anna Casparian, now that she is able to acknowledge a lot of things that most leftists out there, people like Cenk Uygur and Hasan for sure, are not willing to acknowledge, she's able to go build her own brand now if she wants to, 100%. I think she's kind of already bigger than the Young Turks, in my opinion. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on that. I could be completely wrong. I don't know.
I saw two paths when I was first starting, and one of them was change your name, get a nose job, and go to open casting roles. Hawke even stated that it's a privilege to be made fun of for being a Nepo baby, saying it's okay to be made fun of when you're in rarefied air. It's a lucky place to be. My relationships with my parents are really honest and positive, and that supersedes anything anyone can say about it. Okay, so the one exception that I wanted to bring up is something I personally experienced in real life just a few weeks ago. So at the Hollywood Bowl, they were doing a show for The Lion King. I can't believe it, but The Lion King, they were celebrating the 30-year anniversary of that movie, which makes me very depressed. But it's my favorite Disney movie, and so my husband and I go to it because
yeah, they just get into like this long talk about nepotism, and I felt it was important context leading into the Hasan roast, but I don't think it's, you know, we don't need the whole story about how she went to The Lion King and everything like that. But I mean, I thought that was pretty baller by Anna Casparian to just sit next to Hasan's uncle and just be like, yeah, your nephew has zero self-awareness, so he couldn't have said these things that I'm praising this other actress for. I thought that was pretty cool, and also 100% correct. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about Anna Casparian absolutely torching Hasan right in front of his uncle, Cenk Uygur, and Cenk doing absolutely nothing about it live on the Young Turks. Let me know what you're thinking about this whole Anna Casparian versus Hasan situation.